What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. NBA. Detroit Pistons versus Cleveland Cavaliers, Game 6. This is part of the second round of the NBA playoffs. So Cleveland leads the series 3-2. So if they win, then they win the series. If Pistons win, then it goes to Game 7. Pistons have a 53.4% chance to win. The Cavs have a 46.6% chance to win. This is at Cleveland. For injuries, for the Pistons, Robinson's out. For stats, the Cavs have more points per game. Pistons have a higher field goal percentage, have more rebounds per game. Cavs have more assists per game. Pistons have more blocks per game and steals per game. These stats are pretty close, so I think home field advantage will be a big thing here. So I think the Cavaliers will beat the Pistons tomorrow to win the series and move on to the next round. San Antonio Spurs versus Minnesota Timberwolves, Game 6. This is part of the second round of the NBA playoffs. The Spurs are leading the series 3-2, so if they win the series. But if the Wolves win, then the series goes to Game 7. The Spurs have a 64% chance to win. The Wolves have a 36% chance to win. This is at Minnesota. For injuries, for the Spurs, Jones Garcia's out, and for the Wolves, DiVincenzo's out. And let's see, for stats, the Spurs have more points per game, field goal percentage is even. Spurs have more rebounds per game, assists per game. Wolves have more blocks per game and steals per game. These stats are pretty close, so I think home field advantage will be a big thing here. So I think the Timberwolves will beat the Spurs tomorrow to take the series to Game 7. College baseball. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets versus Boston College Eagles. This is Game 2 of the series. Game 1 is not started yet. Um, so, it's not really determined whether or not, which team has a chance to clinch or to tie it. So Georgia Tech is 3 nation, 42-9 record. Boston College is 23 nation, 36-17 record. This could be a good game. I think regardless of what happens in season 1, I think Boston College beats Georgia Tech tomorrow. Mississippi State Bulldogs versus Texas A&M Aggies. This is Game 2 of the series. So Game 1 has not started yet. Um, Now, Mississippi State's 13 nation, 38-14 record. A&M's 10 nation, 36-13 record. This is at A&M. Regardless of what happens in Game 1, I think Texas A&M will beat Mississippi State tomorrow. Ole Miss Rebels versus Alabama Crimson Tide. This is Game 2 of the series. Game 1 has not started yet at the time recording this. Ole Miss is 15 nation, 36-17 record. Alabama's 18 nation, 35-17 record. This is at Alabama. With this being at Tuscaloosa, I think Alabama will beat Ole Miss tomorrow. Georgia Bulldogs versus Auburn Tigers. This is Game 2 of the series. Game 1 is not started yet at the time recording this. Georgia's 4 nation, 41-11 record. Auburn's 5 nation, 35-16 record. This is at Auburn. Regardless of what happens in Game 1, I think with it being at Auburn, I think Auburn will beat Georgia tomorrow. USC Trojans versus Oregon Ducks. This is Game 2 of the series. USC 17 nation, 41-12 record. Oregon 16 nation, 36-14 record. This is at Oregon. With this being at Oregon, regardless of what happens in Game 1, I think Oregon will beat USC tomorrow. MLB. Cincinnati Reds versus Cleveland Guardians. The Reds have a 43.2% chance to win. The Guardians have a 56.8% chance to win. This game is at Cleveland. For starting pitchers for the Reds, Andrew Abbott has a career ERA of 3.52, WHIP of 1.27, and for the Guardians, Tanner Bibby has a career ERA of 3.66 and a WHIP of 1.19. So that's some good pitching for both teams. Not really significant difference here. So for injuries, for the Reds, Caleb Ferguson and Rhett Lauder on 15-day IL, Josh Stamounts on 7-day IL. Brady Singer is day to day, and Eugenio Suarez is on 10-day IL. For the Guardians, Gabriel Arias is on 10-day IL. Sean Armstrong and Andrew Walters on 15-day IL. Carlos Hernandez is on 60-day IL. For stats, Guardians have a higher batting average, more runs, hits. Reds have more home runs. Guardians have a higher on-base percentage. Reds have a higher slugging percentage, ERA, more walks plus hits per innings pitched. Um, let's see. More Reds have more walks. Guardians have more strikeouts, and Reds have a higher opponent batting average. So for these stats, Reds have 12 more runs, 20 more hits, and the Reds have a 12 more home runs, so something that may cancel out. And for pitching, the Reds have a 46 more walks, and the Guardians have 88 more strikeouts. That's a definite overall pitching advantage for the Guardians. So that and home field advantage would be a big thing here. So I think the Guardians will beat the Reds tomorrow. Chicago Cubs versus Chicago White Sox. Uh, the Cubs have a 58.9% chance to win. The Sox have a 41.1% chance to win. I mean, it's in Chicago, but the White Sox are the home team. Not that that matters much. It's Chicago. It's Cubs country there. For starting pitchers, for the Cubs, Edward Cabrera has a career ERA of 4.05, WHIP of 1.31, and for the White Sox, Sean Burke has a career ERA of 3.88, WHIP of 1.33. So that's a good pitching for Burke. Not really good pitching for Cabrera, so it's a definite starting pitching advantage for the White Sox. For injuries, for the Cubs, Jordan Wicks, Caleb Thielbar, and Matthew Boyd are on 15-day IL. Jackson Wiggins is on 7-day IL, and Jeff Brigham's on 60-day IL for the White Sox. Austin Hayes, Everson Pereira, and Kyle Teel are on 10-day IL. Kai Bush and Drew Thorpe are on 60-day IL. For the stats, the Cubs have a higher batting average, have more runs, hits. Sox have more home runs. Cubs have a higher slugging percentage. Sox have a higher ERA, more walks plus hits per innings pitched. More walks. Cubs have more strikeouts. Sox have a higher opponent batting average. So with these stats, with the Cubs having 35 more runs, 36 more hits, it's a definite batting average for the advantage for the Cubs. And with the Sox having 42 more walks and the Cubs having 12 more strikeouts, that offsets a little bit. Well, that leads to a pitching advantage for the Cubs. So the two, with pitching advantage and batting advantage, it does help the Cubs a lot. So yeah, that's gonna be a big thing. Now, starting pitching will contain some things here, but then you have the home field advantage with this being Chicago. It's going to be more of a Cubs, I would say, crowd than a White Sox crowd. So I think the Cubs will beat the White Sox tomorrow. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening, and look forward to the next video.